I've had a lot of hard things happen in my life. And I hope that nobody ever thinks like, oh, boo-hoo. Like, no, I'm sharing these things because I want people to know that they're strong enough to live an incredible life, that even though hard times will come, you set the example for your children. I'm very passionate about this right now. Like, it doesn't just happen. Nobody gave us anything. We had to work for it.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
If there's no struggle, there's no progress. Quote by Frederick Douglass. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. Quote by Amelia Earhart.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Parents Pretty and Punk podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell. I'm your host, Dan Caldwell, and I'm here with my beautiful wife and co-host,
ILdiko Ferenczi.
Hey guys, we have another great podcast for you guys. And why don't we just talk about it when we come back from this? Hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. It just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody it might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes, and thank you again, and let's get back to the show. So friends, we've been lied to. We've been told that the measure of success is giving our kids more than we had. And it's so tempting because we do love our children, and the more comfort and the more gifts, the more opportunities handed to them on a silver platter will equal success, right? Let me tell you the truth, because the best thing that you can give your kids isn't money. It isn't comfort. It's grit. I know that sounds really crazy, because who wants to put their child, the person that they love the most, in a sticky situation or a confusing situation? So we were talking about this a little earlier, and it truly is grit from our friends' experiences, from our experiences. It's grit, because money without grit disappears. So if you're just given money, or you're given what's the fact? If you leave family money, it's gonna disappear, right? But grit, if you have the grit, then you're going to know how to create money, which means you're going to create an incredible life. And if you have all the skills, you're going to be able to teach your family and your legacy. Listen, Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Training doesn't mean handing them everything. Training means preparing them for battle. It means letting them struggle, fail, and rise stronger. So we're talking about a good example of And if your children are still young, like ours, perhaps they want something in the store. They see something, Mommy, I really want this toy. I might just be that mean parent. I don't buy it. I come up with a goal on how my children can get it. And they're very used to this. They've been brought up this way since they could speak. And that's the way I was brought up too. So we'll come up with some kind of goal on what they could do to achieve that gift themselves. And can I tell you how much care they put into that gift and how much love they put into that gift and how proud they are? Or perhaps they want a vacation. You don't just set up the annual vacations and come on, we're going, it's spring break, we're going to Hawaii or we're going to Europe. No, when I was a child, we worked towards that goal in our family business, and we do the same here. If they want something special or they want a vacation, we work towards it together. And I feel like those are the things with grit. I wasn't given a car. I had to work for the car when I was a child, when I was young. I had to work for properties. Things weren't just given to me. We had to work hard for it. So what are you going to expect when you just give your children medals and then the first time they're told no, they're going to throw themselves out a window because they can't handle rejection and they don't know how to get to that simple thing that they want? That's terrifying to me.
It's hard for entrepreneurs because if you struggled, if you grew up in a household that didn't have a lot, and then you finally were able to create wealth and you have money to be able to get the things that you want and give the things that you want, and you have kids that you want to give them everything. You want them to have the things that you didn't have. You want them to feel excited to have a slide when you didn't have a slide, or their own bedroom when they didn't have their own bedroom, when you didn't have your own bedroom. Those things they feel important at the time, but what you're truly doing is giving them a way to not have to learn what they need to learn. I mean, what's that quote? How does it go? Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men.
Right.
And weak men create hard times.
Right.
It just is what it's something that we go through, that the world goes through probably generationally. It's happening every day, whether we know it or not. Sometimes we try not to even do it, and it happens because you have to be super intentional about giving your kids the tools to create their own wealth, create their own success.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, you nailed.
I mean, it's hard for us.
Hit the nail on
we give
the
our
head.
kids.
Parents,
there's things that our kids get that I didn't have growing up. I'm sure there's things that you didn't have growing up that the kids get.
Like
and
what?
Well, just
what's an example?
Well, they live in a beautiful neighborhood. It's like,
I lived in a beautiful neighborhood too,
okay.
but here's the thing. We worked for it, and I understood that we live in this neighborhood because we have our family business. We worked very hard. I remember actually one of my mom's friends at the time, she stopped talking to her cold turkey because she came over and she said, "You need to go on welfare. And you need to get food stamps." And she cut that conversation. She said, "How am I going to raise successful children if they watch me do that? Get out of my house." My mom, European woman. And the mindset, she already understood it. And that's how strong of a European woman she was. She came here with nothing and built an incredible life for us. And if you don't know the story, she was a single mom. Things didn't work out perfectly, but I saw her make things happen. We lived in a gorgeous neighborhood. So but it didn't come. We didn't have gardeners. I was mowing the lawn after my brother died. My brother was doing it before that. But when my brother passed away, I had to take on his chores as well. Plus, I had to go into the store to work. And maybe you may feel sorry for me, like, oh my gosh, that's so hard. Like, my dad used to do it, and my dad would mow the lawn. My dad would do all the chores, and you were just, 13, and you had to do these things? Yes, because there was no dad to mow the lawn, and my brother passed away, so he wasn't there to mow the lawn. So it was just my mom and I, and we had to figure out how to stay in this neighborhood. And I think that gave me the grit to never give up when hard things happen. I've had a lot of hard things happen in my life, and I hope that nobody ever thinks like, oh, boo-hoo. Like, no, I'm sharing these things because I want people to know that they're strong enough to live an incredible life, that even though hard times will come, you set the example for your children. I'm very passionate about this right now. Like, it doesn't just happen. Nobody gave us anything. We had to work for it. We didn't have to. Sure, we could have gone on food stamps. We could have gone on welfare, got a home, or maybe, we had a 5-bedroom home, but we could have got a little apartment, shared a bed with my mom and lived a comfortable life. But that wasn't what would drive us. And we went on vacation twice a year. We made it happen.
No, I learned it. I learned at a young age. I'm sure, like a lot of people, most entrepreneurs, that's where that grit comes from. That we get that grit. That's why that saying comes from, with that good times create weak men. Because when you gain that, it's so easy to make it easy for your family or make it easy for your kids. So there is no grit anymore.
Overgiving doesn't raise stronger kids. It raises weaker ones. Even Gary Vee says this stuff. We can't.
I learned early on that I wasn't going to get something if I didn't go earn it.
Exactly.
And I started, I remember I went and got a job I lied about my age. I was like 14 and a half, 15 years old when I got a job, and they hired me, and then they found out about my age about 3 months into it, and they had to let me go, and I didn't get to come back for like a year until I turned 15 and a half. And I knew that, and I was mowing lawns, and when I was little, I remember me and my friend, we quoted this job for like $10 or something to do this guy's front and backyard, but his weeds were like up to our waist, and all we had was a regular lawnmower. We didn't have the right tools to be able to cut this thing down. We spent like 3 days doing this guy's lawn for $10, and we learned that stuff, and we had to learn by trial and error. And our parents didn't. Back then, they didn't even know. We just took the lawnmower. We just started walking down the street with the lawnmower and knocking on people's doors. We didn't go ask our parents, can we use the lawnmower to go? No, we just did it.
Yeah.
That's what we did back then. We were 12 years old, 11 years old, and starting our own business. And we're going to go mow lawns for a living.
Right,
and
you get
we just had to learn,
ideas.
and because we knew that we would not get something if we didn't go earn the money. Mm-hmm. And when all of a sudden now you're a successful entrepreneur, and you're not making your kids understand that concept,
right?
Now it's good times create weak men, because you're giving everything to your kids instead of making them understand that concept, making them earn it.
And it's old money
rules. And a lot
rules.
of it's clarification, too.
Old money rules. They work with their children. Real wealth isn't comfort. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, it's the ability to create, to solve, to endure. If they come with money, you have to sit down. That table, it's where you're going to create that dinner table. That's where you're going to create the CEOs of the future generation. How can you invest this? How can you multiply this? What can we do? And you don't have to just tell them. They've been watching you. They've been listening to the calls, and hopefully, our community, this is what we do. But if you're new to the community, you have to let your children into the calls. You need to let them into your life. You need to let them into the business. And then they're going to create the skills, and you sit down and you have those conversations, just like I had when I was little. That's that I'm telling you, the dinner table is going to create the CEOs, and that's where you're going to come up with the ideas. And you'll be surprised with the ideas that your children are going to give you about marketing or getting that business out on the street. Sometimes
but you
got
got to ask them, and that's what I was just going to say.
Include them,
is
yes.
that you have to give clarification to it, because you have to tell them that, this money, it's like right now our kids are getting advertising money from their podcast, and we have to let them know that a certain amount of this money is so that you can buy some things that you might want. We save that money, they want something that, but they still, if they want something, they also need to use that money.
They could put a little bit towards that, yeah.
And then some of this money is going to go back into advertising and
you have to
creating
reinvest
for their business. It's reinvesting, and some of it's going to be saved for the future. So we have to explain that to our kids, and if you don't. Even if you want to create a concept and just explain that because they're putting in this hard work, they're going to get a certain amount of money for that. And
sometimes they don't. I was
it.
just telling Dan, and we can have another one about this allowance thing. I never got an allowance. I didn't get paid for doing chores.
Well, this is kind of where, I understand that concept, and we differ here a little bit.
He's bumping heads, but I said, my mom would say, these are things you need to do anyway. You're going to need to vacuum, wash the dishes, mow the lawn, all these things. Why are you going to get an allowance for that? So rather than that, she taught me business skills. And sometimes, guys, I didn't get paid because the business wasn't bringing in enough money. And she said, this is something I need you to learn now, because just because you're an entrepreneur, you don't always get paid. Sometimes you're the one that doesn't eat, while your team,
and that's the truth. That's a good lesson. They get
the rent paid.
But I think also too,
I'm not. She was more hard though. She's a European woman.
But if you're going to have to give your kids certain things that they're going to want, throughout the year. They might want.
Sometimes I didn't get.
They might want a Hot Wheels car or whatever that might be.
Sometimes I didn't get that. Sometimes I got the knockoff Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, but then you got the knockoff Cabbage Patch.
Right.
But either way,
but that's
you got
all I
something.
could afford.
So I would rather attribute that to them.
I got the
mowing the
knockoff
lawn,
because that's
or to
all
them
I could
taking out
afford.
the trash. Well, they're going to do certain things, right? But they're going to do certain things, and so you have to give them some income.
See, in
for
our
that
house,
so that they can buy those things.
I don't pay for chores. That's something they need to do anyway. And I don't want my son to grow up entitled, thinking that he did a big thing because he vacuumed,
they need to
or
be
that he mopped,
then how are they
or
going
that he
to
did
get
the
things?
dishes.
Then how are they going to get things?
Because he has a podcast.
I know, but what if
3.
they don't have a podcast?
I know, but that's not our family.
Saying.
We're not raising that family.
Yeah, but there's
sure there are families that don't want to include their children.
I don't think it's harmful to give them something for going up and over
but they
and
can go do other things. This is why those I don't see eye to eye.
Yeah, maybe
then they
out
start
the trash,
a business,
they don't
and
get
there's
paid
these
for.
kids that say, I'm raising $10,000 this summer. I'm mowing lawns. I got a what is it? A power washing business. Like, I'm sorry, I'm never ever going to endorse the parent that is giving their kids an allowance for chores. No, go do the power washing business. Make the healthy protein bagels. Go sell it door to door, because there is such pride in going to speak. There's a fear when you go to knock on the door, they're going to say no. And they said yes, and it's high five. Yes, you did it. You did it. See, I told you could do it. And then the next door, they're going to say no. They might cry. Maybe you as a parent are crying because you're like, darn it, they said no to my child. I can't believe it. But you got to hold that inside, because that no is so valuable. That's the difference between throwing yourself out of a window because a girl said no to you at 18, 19 because you can't handle rejection. I'm telling you, you need to teach them the skills, and knowing that they did something great, that they're creating something awesome. It's just a different kind of grit that you're raising in those kids. Like, everybody's gonna have to clean a toilet, clean the counters, wash the dishes. It's just, there's no energy. There's
but
no
I'm saying
fire
there's going
there.
to be
It's
a
just
point
not,
before they can start their own business when they're still young. And
No, but you can do little
they're not
things
creating
with children.
funds.
So
how are you going to get them something that they want?
Post.
You're just going to buy it for them.
No, I never have. I never have. It could be an act of kindness. It could be something. I mean, you give Daniel, if he calls a family member,
so you're going to pay them for an act of kindness, but you're not going to pay them for mowing the lawn?
You give Daniel time on the phone if he calls a family member. You're like, I'll give you 10 minutes if you call so-and-so.
Well, what I'm saying is that that's learning. That's something else. That's a whole nother thing. I'm talking about reading books. I mean, here's the thing.
Reading books, I agree with that. I would pay the kids to read books. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Well,
That's
we're going to agree to disagree on this.
I'm not going to pay them to wash dishes and wash the floors. Reading book, any kind of skill, anything that was hard. But it's easy to do chores, and you're going to have to do it all your life anyway, right? Prepare them.
Okay. Like I said, we're going to agree to disagree.
Here's a question. Did you get paid for doing your chores? Is this why?
Yeah. I got
okay, there
paid.
you go.
I had an allowance.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, well, like I said, we'll agree to disagree because you're going to buy them things anyways.
No, I don't, though.
You do.
I don't. It's always because they've done an incredible job on the podcast.
I know, but what I'm saying
right?
is, but this is before they were making money on the podcast. So you were giving them something.
Okay, well, when we get to the tactics
for being nice.
For being nice.
For whatever you were giving them.
I've never given them any kind of money or gift for being nice.
I'm not talking about giving them money.
Never.
Okay, then how did they earn something that they had? So when I come home and they have Daniel has a new Hot Wheels, how did he get that before he had the podcast?
Before you reach for that coffee, consider this. What if the energy boost you're looking for isn't in your cup, but in your cells? I challenge you to swap your morning coffee for Shilajit by Symbiotica. And here's what can happen. No crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy, plus mental clarity and trace minerals that our bodies actually need, that are actually starving for, to be honest. This isn't just a supplement. It's an ancient adaptogen sourced from the Himalayas that supports mitochondrial function, stamina, and overall vitality. Your coffee never did that. Okay, let's just be honest. Try it for a week and tell me your body doesn't thank you. Symbiotica's Shilajit is next level wellness, and honestly, you may never go back to drinking coffee. Click the link below down in the bio and get your Shilajit today. The Hot Wheels, that's from Christmas. He never opened it.
Okay.
I never bought it for him. And that's the other thing about our kids is that they won't open certain things. Like, they don't care about the gifts, to be honest. Like, they don't have a ton of toys. They don't even care about toys. They can get things and they won't even open it. So I think you thought that I bought him a Hot Wheels. I didn't. He got that from Santa, but opened it, September?
Okay. But there's going to become a situation where a kid is going to want something if they have no way to earn that money, because at that time maybe they haven't started a business. They don't have those things yet.
I think we're talking to really savvy.
You can't create some sort of...
Stop making excuses. You're going to create...
It's not an excuse. They're 6 years old. They're 6 or 5.
I worked in my mom's store when I was 6.
Okay.
They can go with their... Say, if they
so
don't have a family...
you got to give them a way to earn.
Okay,
you got to give them a way to earn.
Can I give you an example?
Okay, give me an example.
My neighbor, okay, she didn't have a family business. But her parents were both... Her mom was a teacher. Her father was a principal. Okay? So how did she make extra money? She did the most incredible chores. She was such a good chore worker that she would come over to my house and help me with my chores so that I could go play faster. But you know what she did?
What?
She went to the office and helped her parents clean at the school, and that's how she got paid.
That's fine. That's why
So
that's
it's
all I
different.
said. You
It's
gotta.
just
It's
different.
not different.
But
I
you
said you
can
got to
become
give them some
creative.
opportunity.
Don't pay them for
to
doing
be able-
chores. Please don't do them. Don't do
okay.
it. I'm telling you, read the books.
I'm saying
Don't
you
pay
can give
for
them their
doing
regular chores, but there's some up
Don't
and
pay them
above.
for doing chores.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're wrong. You're wrong here.
I'm not
You're
wrong. I'm
okay,
not
we can
wrong.
disagree to disagree. Like I said, you're not getting. I don't know why it's not going through and
It's not, because you
registering,
could come up with
because
something
there has to be a
else.
way for them to be able to earn money so that they can get the things that they
Exactly.
want. And if you
But
don't
don't
give them
do
that
it with
way,
chores.
then you're doing them a disservice. So the idea that they have to be, if you can give them a way to do something, you create that way to be able to earn something. They understand
Well, maybe just
when
don't
they go
call
up
it-
and above and they put in work, they get something for that. You got to understand that
maybe
concept.
go-
If you don't teach them that concept, they're not going to learn it.
How
You're
about-
a girl, okay? So
about-
you got to understand
I'm
that
a
you got to
girl.
give boys
I'm a girl.
a way
I
to
worked
be able to earn money so
I
that
worked
they can
harder
get things.
than any boy at my age. I
Okay.
promise. I opened a brick and mortar at
Okay.
13 years old. I worked harder than any boy. I was mowing my lawn. I
Okay.
was doing.
Well, then you understand. You have to
Yes.
be able to have a
So-
way to earn money.
Then maybe have them knock on
Something.
the neighbor's door and say, "Hey, I'll clean your toilet and wash the floor," and that's how they can create
at
something.
5?
Grandmas, grandpa,
talking about
if they
at
still
5.
have them.
Okay.
Yes, they can go help grandma and grandpa clean
6?
their house. That is not a necessity. But I'm saying, no, let's normalize not giving our kids a flippin' medal if they've lost a soccer game or a baseball game. Like, let's stop
Okay.
normalizing
We're not in
giving people
disagreeance there.
trophies.
I'm telling you where
and
we are
let's
in
stop
disagreement.
normalizing paying people for things that need to be done anyway. When you buy a home, you have to take care of your home. Nobody's going to come and give you a medal when you grow up. It's a skill that needs to be done. Anything up and above, maybe they're not at the age where they have to do certain things. Sure, come up with something different.
That's all I
whatever
said.
it is.
You're just coming back to what I said.
No.
That's all I said. I said create a way, whether that is outside of their regular
go
chore
clean auntie's
regimens.
house or uncle's house or whatever it is if you don't have a family business. But I think for us, it's really important to teach them skills. I mean, ever since Destiny, she's been a part of the podcast, even though she couldn't speak, she was sitting there the whole time. These types of things, yes, I will pay for if they're learning a skill, a business skill.
Right.
I don't know. It's
Okay.
just the way we're probably never
Okay.
going to see eye to eye on that, but
Okay.
I was just raised differently.
Obviously, princess.
Princess. I'm going to get Gary. I'm calling Gary V tomorrow and we're going to have a little conversation about
Okay,
these
like I said,
kids that were raised
let's-
in the European homes.
Like I said, let's just disagree. Let's just agree to disagree.
Okay.
I'm telling you that I believe that kids need to have some way at 5 and 6 years old to start understanding that when I put in work, I can get a return for that because you're going to buy them certain things anyways.
Okay, but Dan,
you're going to buy them things anyways.
No, I'm not. No, I don't. Are you going to pay them to clean up their toys? So you're going to pay them to clean up their toys?
We
like
just
they get
bought
them
Daniel
wound?
some books a couple weeks ago. What did we buy him? The Hardy Boys books?
He didn't want them.
Okay. We bought them for him.
Yeah, but he didn't want them.
We bought
That's
him the
for
robot
homeschool.
books. We bought him the robot books.
That's for homeschool. That's homeschool. He doesn't want to read. I make him read because it's a skill.
He does. He loves reading. What are you talking about? He loves reading.
Well, I mean, we'll ask him.
He
We'll
read all
see.
the iRobot books.
He reads
And he-
because it's a skill that he needs to do. It's a skill that he
I'm
needs
looking
to
at a
do.
book right out here on the floor because he was laying out here last night reading this book. It's all laid out right to the page.
His
he was reading on.
entrepreneur book. I mean, he's going to sell in a minute. He's going to sell all his books
Yes.
because he's getting his color.
Yep. He's got a book
whatever
coming
it's
out.
called.
They got a book coming out.
Yes.
Daniel and Destiny. So be on the lookout. We got the Daniel and Destiny entrepreneur book, and a couple other books that they've been kind of working on that I'm sure will happen right after that one.
Yes.
And their podcast, the Entrepreneur Kids Legacy Show.
Dad.
If you haven't listened to that yet. And we do make Daniel edit that podcast. Sometimes he doesn't like to, but he doesn't like to. He doesn't like to finish after about an hour.
I shouldn't say he doesn't like reading, but he would prefer to do other things.
He loves reading. I think he loves reading.
Right, but I would think that he prefers to do other things over it. But I feel like once you marinate your children in doing something and you try different things, it's like, oh, I don't really like the Hardy Boys. I'm like, well, just read it anyway. Read it anyway. Maybe it's not as exciting as this last one. And I think he's going to get more excited now that what are those things called? Those like little computer book. What are they called? We have one on a
Kindle?
The Kindle. He's getting the color Kindle. So he's going to sell all his books. He's going to make a bunch of money. And then he's got the Kindle where he can have all his books and be organized. So it's an exciting little introduction for him. And yeah, maybe he's not excited about editing the podcast, but as soon as he sits down and he starts doing it, he gets really excited.
It's about an hour into it, he's done.
And then once he's done and he listens to it with Destiny, then he's super excited. He's like, I did a really good job. I did a better job than our producers.
Once he hears it and hears it on the radio. Okay, so what's a great call to action for the folks that are listening?
Okay.
Something that they can do so that going forward this week, because it's a hard, you may agree with ILdiko about the idea that
you may not, and you don't have chores. You don't have to agree with me.
We have to give them a way.
I feel passionate about.
I'm talking.
I know. I'm just telling them.
We have to give them a way to be able to earn money.
Yeah.
And so that they understand that hard work gets them that thing that they wanted. Because there's things that we're going to buy them. I can't think of a specific right now.
I don't.
But whatever
I
it
never
is,
have.
there's things that we're going to buy them.
They'll never cry for something in the store. I think that's just the way that they were brought up, though.
Yeah, but
they'll
there's
never
things.
Be like,
I see they have toys. How do they get those toys?
Christmas.
Okay, well, there's things
Birthdays?
that they're going to get. And we have to give them a way to get them that stuff.
He doesn't know that Santa does all this stuff.
They have to figure out a way to earn it.
Santa just shows up with
Well, yeah.
And
so
it's
there
not.
it is. Santa's teaching them bad habits.
Well,
they're just waiting for
gifts.
Christmas.
3 gifts. That's it. They're not. And when it's time for a car, they better work their buns off. When it's time for a house, they better work their buns off, just like I did. They're not getting anything just like, here, this is for you. No, they got to work for it. So they're proud of it. Okay, so here's some tactics. Don't rush in with answers. I know as parents, we want to do this, but hand them the problem back. What do you think we should do? And I know this isn't anything that they should be paid for, but I'm just talking about grit, how to start this grittiness, how to just spark this fire of grit within them. And they're going to figure things out, even when problem solving.
Yeah, because they need to have
communications. If your child has siblings or friends that they play with, let them figure that out. I think one tactic that I use personally with Daniel and Destiny when they're after their own thing, they're 2 different brains, 2 different people. They're after 2 different things. Rather than fight about it and have resentment and be angry with each other, the only thing I do is I get involved. I say to Destiny, do you love Daniel? She said, yes, I love Daniel. Daniel, do you love Destiny? Yes, I love Destiny. And then they work it out because they remember they're on the same team. And then again, they figure it out themselves. They come up with a solution. Maybe she wants more time playing tag or whatever it is that they're doing, and he wants to move on to another game that they want to play. They figure it out. They put on a timer. Okay, 10 minutes for you, and then we'll do my thing. And they come up with something really creatively rather than just me coming along and solving the situation for them, which could be very easily done. The next thing is give them responsibility with money. Teach them how to earn. Teach them how to invest. Teach them how to negotiate. So,
and they got to start with something.
Yeah.
So we go back to like, you got to give them some way to earn. You got to give them some way to earn. They have to
Oh
learn
my gosh,
that
please
put in
stop
the
with
time for something.
So negotiating.
Whatever that is, so that they can earn something, so that they have the money to be able to invest.
Right. Yeah, right.
How are they going to learn how to invest if they don't have something to start with? They have to figure out how to
So
earn
you
something
guys
to
are
start
very
with.
savvy business people, and you can come up with great business ideas for your kids. I know that you can. There's power washing. There's mowing the lawns. There's sweeping.
Go door to door and sell cookies that they made.
Go to an elderly community, and I'm telling you, they're never gonna say no. They don't get to see their grandkids enough. I mean, even me, I'm supporting the first kid that knocks on my door. What are you selling? Yes, I'll buy 10. Give me 10.
It's a great lesson.
Come, get my
Don't
snow,
tell
whatever
them that.
it
We're
is.
going to have all kinds of kids knocking on our door here in a second.
But so give them that responsibility with money. So and then confidence doesn't come from just winning. It comes from surviving losing. Let them do something where they could potentially lose. And that's that thing of knocking on doors. Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say no. Why do you think they said no? Oh, maybe we should try the elderly community. They always say yes, or whatever it is. You guys are going to come up with ideas together and let them figure that out. So surviving the losing, so they don't throw themselves on the floor if someone says no to a date or they don't get the job that they really wanted. Come up with tactics of what can I do to get that job that I really want, or that business that I really want, or to be able to handle those emotions that bubble up so they don't run out when they're in an important conversation or break into tears, in an important conversation at work. And they're like, this guy is unstable, or this girl is unstable. I let my children have the feelings, but I also give them the responsibility to know that they can't sit in those emotions for days. They have to figure out a way to solve the problem, to get what are you going to go. I always like to say that the sun is always going to shine, even when there's a storm. And as parents that have gone through a lot, you understand that. Sometimes it feels dark, but the sun is always going to shine. So that's a visual that I give my children, that maybe your emotions are heavy right now for 3 or 5 minutes, but how are you going to make the sun shine? Sometimes you have to be in charge of your emotions on what do I have to do to be happy and get in that place of getting through this, because you're going to have to speak through those tears. Let it bubble up for a minute and then move through it. You can't just walk out during an important business meeting, or on your spouse for that matter, when you grow up and you're in a relationship. You have to figure out how to navigate through those emotions and through the obstacles in your life. You need to do that. You need to have the grit to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
You take your own advice.
What do you
You
mean?
got to be able to work through those things.
I never get emotional. You're the one that runs out or explodes. What are you talking about?
Okay,
I don't do that.
Okay.
Maybe I kind of wish I do, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I need to go to one of, I've heard they have these like groups where you go out in the forest and you just scream. I've never been able to do that.
Crazy.
Maybe I just,
those are crazy
maybe
women.
I make friends
That's
with
a crazy woman thing.
these wood men, these forest men, and just go out there and, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh,
I got one more. Can I drop one more? So I think one of the things you can do with your kids is come up with, lots of times we give, I had to, run, walk 50 miles to school in the snow uphill, and, we kind of just leave it at that. Really sit down with your kids and tell them a story of something that you did. Tell them the long version of starting your lawn care business when you were 11 years old, or how you, charged kids to come over, and I mean, these are the things I did. You charge kids to come over and parents to come over and watch your magic show, or created a circus, or started your own DJ business, whatever it is. Tell them the long version of that story so that they understand what you went through, the grit, the heartache that you went through, because they might be getting it easy right now and they don't understand they don't understand your story of what got them there, that they have this nice roof over their head now, that they don't have to question that they're, where food's coming from. They have those opportunities that sometimes, they're just going to have. They're going to have because you built that way for them. But it doesn't mean they still can't learn grit. They still can't learn struggle. They still can't build how they have to build something. We can still teach that to them in other ways.
And even the family, like, it doesn't just have to be your history. I share the stories of the things that my mother accomplished. I share the things that my grandmother and grandfather accomplished together, the farm, and how everybody was successful. One of my uncles was the premier of the province. Another one was a master. She was an attorney. That he's got several doctors in his family, a famous pianist in his family, a famous soccer player. You share everybody's success story. And this is the interesting thing. We were just listening to that story about they studied two families, and one was a criminal and did all kinds of criminal kinds of activities. And it ran down in the bloodline. And just down the street, there was a family, and the father was a preacher, and everybody in that bloodline was successful. And you almost have to explain that stuff too. If you're the one breaking a chain where your family was or maybe it was your grandfather or great grandfather, someone broke a chain, explain that to them. Because so-and-so broke the chain, and that's how we became wealthy and were given the opportunity. Or maybe right now you're working on breaking a chain of poverty and crime. And not everybody comes from a perfect family. But if you can figure out what you need to do, it could change your bloodline forever. Now, also, a couple things that I wanted to add was give your kids some challenges instead of a gift. Like, for example, let them budget for a meal. This is something that's easy. It's not gonna hurt nothing. You come up with a certain amount of money that you need to spend on a meal. I know a lot of my friends, they let their kids budget vacations. I think that's a really smart thing too. Let them negotiate for something that they want. So, and invite them to do that negotiation. I think Dan was talking about the chores. Let your kids come up with, what do you think you should do to be able to buy this thing or do this thing that you want to do? Let their little brains tell you what they think is valuable, and then kind of negotiate with them. I think that that's always so fun to do with children. And let them fail safely and praise their effort. So as I was saying, there's a ton of examples, but as I said, knock on the doors. They say no, they say yes, they say no, what could we do different? And praise their effort. It's a learning experience. It is the grit gift, the gift of grit. Do that.
Give it to them.
That's it.
Give it to them. They need it. Okay, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Entrepreneur Parents Pretty and Punk Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Caldwell. I'm here with my beautiful wife, ILdiko Ferenczi, and we hope you guys have a great week.
Yes, and if this called you in any way, or you think that you need to share it with one of your best friends or a family member, just so they understand your mindset and they can help you jump on board with, hey, we're not just going to give our kids stuff. Jump on board. This is what we're doing with our family. Share this episode and join the community if you're new here. We're grateful to have you, and we hope that you have an incredibly blessed week. God bless you guys, and have the best day, have the best week,
Thank
and
you
the
guys.
best life.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode of the Entrepreneurial Parents Pretty and Punk podcast. We really hope you got something from this episode today. And remember, us kids need to work for things. And if you teach us that now, we'll thank you for it later. Thank you so much. Just make sure to like and subscribe. We love you. God bless. I appreciate you all for listening to the Entrepreneurial Parents Pretty and Punk podcast today. I'm so glad you can spend some time with us. And remember the lesson. Get over gifts. God gotta teach us what we need when we're kids. God bless, and I'll see you guys next week.